The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has been criticised for its poor efforts in supporting stranded Australians in Israel. Some have labelled DFAT's communication shambolic after an evacuation email was sent out which contained an incorrect link. Adam, it's a worrying time for Australians stranded in the region and their families back home. The last thing you need is emails from DFAT with links that don't work.
Yeah, look, it's one of the largest departments, I understand, in Canberra, you know, when you include all the staff around the world. So you would think that they could get that right. But, yeah, look, it's actually surprised me, to be honest, that there were so many Australians there in the first place. I don't know what was going on with advisories there. I've got friends there, you've got friends there who've been in bunkers. And they were there during a pretty volatile, dangerous time. So let's hope everything's fine. But you know, let's also hope that they can get out quickly, because it has been a fiasco.
Now, we will have more on the impact of this conflict on energy markets with Professor Ian Plimer, but Israel has now set its sights beyond Iran's nuclear facilities by launching attacks on major gas and oil sites, including some of the largest in the world. Meanwhile, there are reports that Israel had communicated to Donald Trump a plan to kill Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, which the US president opposed, leading to the plan not being executed. Adam, Donald Trump does not want the US heavily involved in this conflict. He clearly stands with Israel. He condones what's happening, but he knows his supporters, a sizable number of them, do not want America involved in another war.
No, look, it's a very difficult needle to thread for him at the moment, because he certainly does support Israel. That is very clear. But as you point out, I would say probably more than half of the Trump base are very anti-war. There's the old Reagan-Bush side, but that's probably about a third of the party now, I would say.
Yeah, the war hawks' power and influence is diminishing.
Well, it's much greater in the mainstream media than it is amongst the ordinary supporters. They are really anti-war, and I can understand why. There's been a lot of wars, you know, in the last 20 years or so America's been involved in, which have not gone well. So let's just see what happens. I mean, I think Israel, I mean, you know, I'm no military expert, but certainly Israel has, you know, what they call escalatory dominance. Basically, it's going to win, and that's even without the US, I think, because ultimately it's got more missiles, it's got more planes, and of course it probably has nuclear weapons too, which Iran knows. And in a very extreme case, you know, that's a major threat.
Absolutely, and it's going to also be fascinating to see whether they stop at Iran not being able to create or develop a nuclear weapon, or whether they're going to push ahead for regime change, because...
Well, that's the best outcome, right? But it has to happen organically, right? The regime has to collapse, right, of its own accord. That would be the wonderful outcome.
And that would have to be led by the Iranian people. And on that, Elon Musk's Starlink